Hey, hey, hey. What's going on, everybody? It's good to see everybody again on a
Hey,
Friday night. Hope everybody's doing well. Glad to be with these guys again. Everybody's back together. Everybody's following in. We'll give you guys a few minutes to jump in here. If you don't mind, as you're coming in, go ahead and click that like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel you're watching, hit subscribe and turn the little notification bell on so that you're notified every time we go live, which is every Friday night at 9 o'clock usually, in sporadic times during the week. Unless you're like Dave or Kip or Larry, who's putting videos out about every other day, then you can be notified then too. I'm pretty proud of you guys. You guys are pretty consistent. I'm trying to work on getting more consistent with it.
You'll get there.
Y'all doing all right?
Yeah, man, I'm doing real good. Uh, Good to see everybody. Glad everybody's piling in here. And I've had a busy day. I rushed to get the stream together. And you guys know I sat down 4 minutes before we started in the green room. But I've had a really good day, productive day, and eating clean, Kip. Right? How about you, buddy? How you doing?
Oh yeah, for those of y'all that don't know, Dave, oh not Dave, Larry and Cassie, they issued me like a 5 day challenge because I had been went off the rails or whatever, and so I'm on day 3 of that challenge, and it's been going really good. I'd actually went up. I don't know how I done it, but I went up 35 pounds, literally 35 pounds, and a lot of that was water weight. It had to be because in 3 days I'm down 16 pounds. So it's got
Mm.
to be the water weight and just fluid retention and stuff like that. So I'm glad to get half that weight back off, or almost half of it back off. What about you,
Man,
Dave? Yeah.
It's been a good week, and just still kind of easing into this new working style that I've got, and trying to, because it feels like I've got free time a little bit, so I'm trying not to relax. If I see it too much of a holiday, then I'll end up, you know, sitting back, kicking back too much. But going good, and it's good to see you
yeah,
all.
It's good to have you back,
it's
bud.
good to see. Yeah, it's good. Everybody doing their thing and getting back and coming together and having a good time, man. I'm trying to find
Mm.
that. Like, I'm taking this weekend off. The next 2 days, like, I appreciate, all the blessings that I have, but sometimes you just gotta step away for a second. So this weekend is gonna be that weekend for me. People are probably like, well, I haven't seen you do anything anyway. Well, behind the scenes, I got a lot going on, and so I'm actually gonna take the weekend off from everything. So probably go into seclusion, me and the family, hopefully.
It's good to take a full break, especially from social media,
Yeah,
because it really kind of keeps you on edge, a lot. So it's good to take a couple of days off.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I've had to take a few, over the last couple of years, and a couple of times it was, well over a week. Just stepped away and said, let the audience know. Won't see you for a while, and I'm glad you're going to do that, Sean. That's good.
I've only been
absolutely.
on YouTube for 8 months, and I've already had to take off about 2 or 3 times to just take a little break. I think one of the times I just kind of planned ahead and didn't really tell anybody I was taking off, and then the other time I was just like, "Look, guys, I gotta go. I'll see y'all later." So it's good that you're smart enough, Sean, to know whenever you need to take some downtime because everybody deserves it.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, just trying to stay focused, man. Nobody can stay, 100 miles an hour all the time. You get you even whenever you hit those and that's like I wrote down. I always write down questions for you guys because I don't know. I'm always shocked that people show up and everything else, man. So, um, you know, I always come prepared to have a good time no matter what. And one of the things that I wrote down is, tell name a time when you had to pivot from a great plan. What triggered it, and what did you learn from it? One of even a good plan, man, you can get in the monotony of the struggle to get there, and you got to step away from even a good goal. I hope my mic's coming back up. Some people in the can y'all hear me okay? If you can hear me okay, just put it in the comments so I know that it's right. And if you have a question, put a Q by it, and we'll get to your questions for sure. What who do you guys admire the most and why? That's something that I want to know. Larry,
Who should go
Living,
first?
living or I mean,
any
does it matter? Huh?
no, it
Either.
doesn't. Like it's all about you, man. Like who
Yeah.
anybody
I
that
mean,
you
my
admire.
right. I'd say my dad. My dad was a huge influence in my life as far as being stand up and but Cassie. I mean, I know it's cliche, but she's a really strong woman. I've seen her stand next to me through hell, and so I got total respect for her. And there's a few people, but um, yeah, but those two, bam, and all my kids, I love them. Dave, what about you?
Interesting. I, I. This is more of a general thing, but I tend to the people I respect most are the people that kind of go against the grain. Are willing to stand, even if they're wrong, are willing to stand up and say, well, I think this. Um, and even if it ends up they're wrong or they didn't think it through very well or whatever, they've got their own opinion and they're willing to stand up and go against the grain. And so I think the community, but in that regard, I think one of the people that I respect most in my personal life is my mum, because she's willing to do that. She was always willing to do that when we were younger. How about you, Kip?
Well, for me, of course, the obvious would be my family, like in general, my family. Like, I wouldn't be who I am without all of them supporting me in many different ways. But when I think about somebody that I really, really look up to, it would definitely be my pastor, because my pastor, like, he's like not just a great preacher, but he's like one of the hardest working people that I know. And whenever, like, we built a new church like maybe a year ago, and during the whole process, like, we were of building the church, he was there every day working with his bare hands. And whenever other people couldn't come help and other things, he was always out there. And he's always been like that ever since I've known him for like over a decade. And so it would definitely be him. Whenever I grow up, I want to be more like him.
Very cool. I like how Dave threw that general answer out there, because I'd like to agree with him that people that speak their mind, it's like, in today's world, a lot of people are afraid to say a lot of things. And that's something I got from my dad. If you know something's right or you believe it's right, you should say something. And there's a big portion, especially here in America, where our population that are afraid to say certain things, things that were fine to say 5 or 6 years ago. And,
Mhm.
screw that, man. You believe something, say it. So I got a lot of respect for people who will speak how they feel, like Dave said, even if they find out they're wrong later on, and then usually those kind of people admit they were wrong and, change course. So I totally agree with Dave there. Sean?
Oh, 100%, man. I agree. I agree with all you guys on your answers, and like that for me, I 100% agree with you. I do like people who speak their mind, because that's how I am. I would much rather have somebody tell me something, what I don't want to hear, but the truth, and be honest with me about, especially the people that I surround myself with. I expect you to be honest with me. I don't surround myself with just anybody. I learned a long time ago, you become the people that you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with people who violate their own boundaries, who don't even set boundaries, who have no goal, no direction in life, no drive, guess what you're going to become? You're going to become that person with no drive, no direction, no goals, and whatever. It's just it's the way life is. It's the way it works. You're gonna become the people. So I put those people around me for that specific reason. And I value that, and I need that. For so long in my life, I didn't have that mentor or that person speaking into my life to call me on my bull crap, to give me that encouraging word when I need it, or to say, hey man, you're wrong, you know. And I think that's truly valuable. I respect my pastor too, Kip. Like, I feel like anybody who stands in the anointed, behind the anointed desk and brings the message that God has placed in that position is worthy of our respect and whatnot. I respect people who hold authority. I may not respect their decisions, and I may not agree with their decisions, but I respect their position and what they have. Even in the scriptures, it talks about how a nation gets the leaders it deserves, which speaks a lot more to the people than it does to the leaders. And I think that's something we need to reevaluate. Going back to Larry's point earlier, we we need to stand. What was the song? We need to stand for something or we'll fall for anything. Aaron Tippin, like 25 years, 30 years ago or something. You know, we need people not just in America but all over the world that'll stand up for what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong, and there's no two ways about it. And we like to blur the lines because of our addictions or our whatever the case may be, whether it be with our diet or anything else for that matter. Right's still going to be right, wrong's still going to be wrong, and we need to stand up for it. I respect Barry, Barry and Chafee and all these doctors. I respect not just the doctors, all the people in the space, because they were helped by something, and they turned around and didn't just keep that information to themselves, just like we could have done. We've reaped the benefits of this way of eating, but instead of hoarding that knowledge, the first thing you think about doing is turning and sharing that with somebody else. So I admire you guys. I admire the stand you guys take, because it's not popular, in the grand scheme of things. In our space, maybe, but in society as a whole, not so much. But that may change.
Society as a whole, we're in society as a whole, I think.
That's right. Let's see. We got a lot of folks. What's up, Nola Carnivore? What's up, Daryl? You doing all right? Home with Katrina. You got Cassie's in there. Hope Cassie's doing all right. The Carnivore Trucker. Man, everybody's piling in.
Hey guys.
Yeah, I see some familiar faces. Same people every week, swinging by, hanging out. It's awesome.
That's right. So let me ask you this. I got, if you guys ain't going to ask questions, I will. I got plenty of them, because I got a lot of stuff I need to learn.
Fire away, man.
All right. So this is for each one of you. I guess we'll start with Kip. How about that? Kip, you want to build a team. Who are you asking to be on it? What does it look like? What do you look for in the recruits that you're trying to get on your team, and how do you get them to join you?
Is it people from the carnivore community or just anybody?
You're building a team, man. You're going to charge hell with water pistols. You're going to take over the world. You pinky in the brain in it. You're building a team. You got to have help.
Well, my daddy would be on my team, because I know that he's got my back probably more than anybody. He would take a bullet for me. And then I would put, of course, my pastor that I was talking about a while ago, he would be on my team. Honestly, I would if as long as I can have a team big enough, I'd put y'all on the team, because I talk to y'all every week. Like, we talk all the time. So and I've gotten to know y'all pretty well just through here. One day I have to go over to Japan and get to meet Dave, but I would save y'all a spot on the team. But what I look for in a team is I would say, first off, I want honest people. I want people that's honest, that I can count on, that are going to have my back, and basically ride or die. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hadn't thought too much more into it until right now, but like that's what I want. I want loyal people, honest people, like people with integrity, things like that are going to be on my team. And people that are leaders, like people that not they're not just going around following and just following whatever everybody else thinks. They think independently, and they can think for themselves. That's the kind of people that I want on my team. What about you, Dave?
Okay, so very generally speaking, I would want people who firstly can respect nuance. So they're willing to listen to the whole context of a situation before they actually make decisions, or they're willing to change their position based on understanding the whole context of a situation. Because obviously, in most situations, when you just look at the surface level of it, you go, oh yeah, well, this is the answer, but there's more to it than that. The second thing is I want people who are willing to push back on me. So they're not just yes people, they're not just taking orders. They will, well, your idea sounds right, but, and again it comes back to context, when you consider this issue, maybe this isn't the best approach that you're planning. Maybe we need to do something a different way. And I think if you've got people like that, then everything else is really easy, because everyone can work on their own, but they're willing to collaborate and they're willing to talk to each other, and everyone knows that they can kind of say, your idea is good, and people will respect that. But I think those are the two things that I'd be looking for. Larry, how about you?
Uh, yeah, I'll just go back to when I was working at the auto plant here in South Carolina, a major auto plant. And my second promotion, I was put in charge of a team. So I had to build a team. And, I had like 3, 4 weeks to observe people, pick them. And I definitely, people that show up every day, and that was huge for me. And like what you were talking about, Dave, someone that's not afraid to, put their input in, even if they disagree with you. But, if I'm in charge, go ahead and give your opinion. I'll consider it, but I definitely want you to approach me with it. And yeah, and overall ability to get along with people, which, if you, you guys know, most of us out there in the workforce, there are people out there that just can't get along with people. They're just idiots. So that'd be my criteria. Sean, you can answer your own question, bud.
Sure, man, I will. I mean,
He
like
don't need
honestly,
nobody. He's good all by himself.
man, listen. So when I want to build a team, I look for um complimenting each other, not necessarily always agreeing, but complimenting each other for the and passionate about the mission. We can come from different angles, but let's we all have to be on the same team. If you're not a team player, if you can't get in with the team, then you have a team that's based off of we're together on this team, but we're all doing our own thing. That's just like five separate individuals who lump themselves together and call it a team, but they don't function as a team, you know. Um, so that's one of the one thing I guess I would look for. Two, uh, mirroring back to what we were talking about a while ago, it's got to be someone who's honest, who's straight up, who I don't care if you're the most talented, but you 100% have to be the most honest, open with me, even if it's wrong, because that's something that like I feel like I can't work with somebody who's not that way. So that's definitely things that I look for. People who do what they say they're going to do, people who, you know, if they don't do what they say they're going to do, be big enough to just say, "Hey, I apologize. I was wrong." Those words are some of the hardest words to ever get out of your mouth, but they're so exhilarating. And whenever you just say, "I was wrong," none of us are perfect, and none of us know it all. But just being humble about it and taking responsibility when you're wrong and celebrating when you're right. Those two things are huge points that I think we need to get better at altogether. But I definitely look for those traits in somebody on a team.
So you building
So,
a team? You building a team, Sean?
Man, I got a team. I got a team right here of at least 3 guys starting out that I would just about take on anything with. True
For
story.
so
sure.
who had the thumbnail the other week that was the A team? Was that you, Larry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Who was EA Baracus? Who was that?
Well, yeah, I had you guys all labeled. It was Kip was BA, you were Hannibal, and Sean was Face, and I was the crazy guy, Howling Mad Murdoch. Just how,
Nice.
that's what's cool about this live stream. I just have fun with it. You know what I mean? You
Hmm.
never know what I'll come up with when it comes to the thumbnail.
Oh, that's what it's supposed to be, man. Have fun,
Right.
cut up. Somebody else had a question. I think Daryl had a question. Let me go jump over here and grab it real quick.
While you're grabbing
Uh,
it, I'm going to tell you guys, Cassie made the most amazing beef jerky out of ground beef. It's phenomenal. And the video will be coming out, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, maybe a little sooner, but I am it's like I'm excited about it because it's a snack food that's completely clean if you snack, you know what I mean? But anyway, while you were pulling that up,
I got to get me some of that beef jerky, man. You've been telling me
oh,
about that stuff, and I got to have
man,
some.
so good.
Daryl says, "Who is the first person you influenced to try carnivore way of eating? Family or friend?" Larry?
The first person was Cassie because we were both following Dr. Barry doing the keto diet. And then I saw his very first video when he talked about doing carnivore. And he started doing it a couple weeks. And then it seemed like he was really enjoying it, really liking it. And then I said to her, you want to give it a try? And at first she was like, absolutely not. So I know that one for sure. That was definitely, I influenced Cassie to start. And I'm glad she did. Kip, what about you, man?
Yeah, well, the only person that I've actually convinced to try it was and actually they came to me. I've had a couple people like that know me that come to me and just say, "Hey, ask me questions about it." But one of them told me for sure that they were trying it, and they tried it for like a week or so. But like then suddenly I stopped hearing from them, and like I would message them, and then they just were kind of like flaking out in the conversation. So I kind of backed off because I didn't want to push it on them if they're like not wanting to do it anymore. But it was a cousin of mine that was doing it for like a week or two, but then they kind of just stopped doing it. But what about you, Dave?
So for me, first and probably only person I've really influenced to try it was my mum, and she did it for a couple of weeks, and she kind of fell off the wagon after I left Australia at Christmas time. And but going back to Australia this time, I've convinced her and my dad to give it a try again. So once they get back from the vacation they're on now, they're going to get back on it. So Sean, how about you?
Oh man, that's I was sitting over here thinking about that. I'm like, I have no idea. I mean, I know my wife eats this way. All the people in my family noticed the transformation in me, which is my wife. My brothers eat this way probably longer than anybody. Between paleo, low carb, whatever, he's eaten this form of way of eating for 20 years probably. Um, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, they eat this way. My mom eats this way. All those people came to eat this way by watching my journey. Ultimately they made the decision themselves because I never really recruited them, but I think that definitely influenced them. As far as the first person, like, I have no idea. I have gotten so many messages, people that tried, said they were going to try it at this point. I don't know who the first would be. But it's always exciting to hear those stories to me. Somebody sends me a message, "Hey, I saw your video on, whatever, and I just want you to know I'm giving it a go. I'm giving it a try." And some people have messaged me a couple of months in and let me know, hey, I've lost 60 pounds, I've lost 100 pounds, I'm like, wow. And I just wanted to thank you because you were the first person I heard talk about this, and I gave it a try, you know, and that makes it amazing because I know that if I do it, you can do it too.
At 8:24, somebody asked a question that like I wanted to get thoughts from y'all on. I don't know about
Definitely.
y'all, but they had said something about Halloween candy, and they had said, "What are your thoughts on Halloween candy and like having it around and stuff?" I know for me, that's one thing that I struggled with at work, especially whenever I was falling off playing. And I think it was at 8:24 that question was. But how do y'all struggle with whenever that time of year when people have candy laying around, or what do y'all do to not want to give in to stuff like that? Anybody want to go?
I'll start off. So for me, I seem to have got past the point where it worries me. So if there's stuff lying around, I'm not going to be bothered. But I have to be really strong by the same token, because if I was to even go, oh yeah, I'll just give it a try, that'll be it. I know that'll be it for me. So the issue for me is, now that I've passed that craving stage, which took about 2 or 3 months, um, I'm over that pool that it had with me, but I'm I know that I can easily fall back. So Larry, how about you?
Yeah, Halloween's really not a problem for us at all. We don't celebrate it. Ever since I got saved, we don't celebrate it. But if there's a holiday where they were handing out cheeseburgers, I would definitely have a problem. So I totally get it. 99% of my friends and family celebrate Halloween, and stop by their house. There's candy all over, but I was never really a big candy person. It was more fast food goodies. That was my gig. And but I love chocolate. Don't get me wrong, but that's not what I really crave if I'm thinking about being a bad boy. But what about you, Sean?
Honestly, whenever I was a kid, me and my brother used to sneak out on Halloween and go around to the neighbor's house. We would dress up in our army gear, like we dressed up in like BTU fatigues and go play army soldiers in the woods or whatever. And my mom would not let us celebrate Halloween even as kids. So we would put on our thing to go play in the woods and act like we were army men and go knock on doors and try to get candy from people. Um, so we never celebrated Halloween either. So it's never been that big of a deal, even as I got older. And with my kids, I would take them to like these church functions, to get them candy. But I would say, look, we can go hang out and do all this trick or treating stuff, or I can buy you a box of Snickers bars from Walmart and we can save time and chill. You know what I mean? I'm like, which one do you want? Well, you can dress up and hang out, whatever. Anyway,
So
long story
I got
short,
I got a
it's never
question
been
for
that
you
big of a
guys.
deal.
What's the coolest Halloween costume you've ever worn? Mine is the Warriors. From the movie The Warriors, the baseball Furies. I was actually 2 years, painting my face, and I thought it was bad. It probably looked dorky. I was in my early 20s. What about you, Sean? What's a cool Halloween costume you've worn?
Oh, man, honestly, I don't think I have ever dressed up in my life for Halloween. Not even
Oh
other than
my,
the army,
oh
other
my
than the army
gosh.
man, like me and my brother sneaking out as kids doing that thing. But that was just me going out to play. I don't think I've ever wore a Halloween
Well,
costume
that's got to be
ever.
it then. You're right.
Yeah, it's got to be the
Yeah.
army man. Dave, what about you?
I guess the best or the most popular costume that I've worn looked similar to another character I have on my channel called Bellshine. Um, so I went out one Halloween with a dressed as a nurse with a long pink wig on, and that proved really popular. My friend and I were both when her husband was the doctor. And so I proved really popular, but with kind of the rank. It was all old Japanese ladies that were running up to me saying, "You look beautiful. You look beautiful." So, you know, yeah. Kip, how about you?
Well, I just remember I would actually, because I played football, so I would, when it was Halloween time, I just put my football pads on, my clothes, a full football uniform, and of course, all the ladies loved it. But they all like all the little girls like the football player. But but anyway, that's pretty much what I would do. Because my parents, they wouldn't really spend money on like different outfits or whatever. I was like, well, I got some football clothes in there, so I'll just wear that and I'd have my helmet on and everything. But so that's pretty much what I've done. But the reason that I had asked that question to y'all about Halloween is not really because as an adult, well, even since I got in church, just like Larry, I kind of got out of Halloween. And but the reason I brought the question up was because like even though I don't celebrate Halloween at work, they've been having like candy everywhere, and all everybody knows by now that I had that slip up, a terrible slip up, and so like when you start back during the first few weeks or whatever, a lot of times those cravings are kind of still like raging. And like what I've been able to do, because there's been times I'll walk past it when I'm at work, the candy, and literally for like 30 seconds, my mind is sitting there thinking, man, I bet you that Hershey's Kisses would taste good. I bet you this would taste good. And you're having all those thoughts in your mind. And so what I've been doing is when I get to my desk and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want that candy, I'll just drink a big old, like, I'll drink a ton of water. And when I drink a ton of water, that helps me to just stop thinking about it. And I don't know if other people are having cravings, but that's one little trick that I've been doing to help me with it.
Oh yeah, it's the temptations are always going to be there, man. Even a year and a half into it, you know, or however many days and months, whatever. I don't keep up with it anymore, but um, there's still times whenever you see something that's going to trigger those memories. It's never. I don't think it's ever going to go away because what is the old saying? It's better to love and lost than never loved at all. Like at the same time, you wouldn't have those addictions or have those memories of that triggering your brain with those sweet, flashes of sugar in your head all the time if you had never tasted it, right? But we did, and that's something we're gonna have forever. You know, you just got to learn to, thrive in the dark.
I
That's the hard part.
I had a craving yesterday that just came out of the blue for peanut butter, and I haven't craved peanut butter in forever. And like when Cassie and I, at times early on Carnivore, we'd have a little peanut butter, like the organic that has like 2 carbs per 2 tablespoons, not like Jif, it's full of sugar, but I was really craving it. And it's such a if you have prosthetics, Sean, like I know you do, take
Hmm.
out your dentures and eat a little peanut butter. It's heaven. I love it.
Right.
But I didn't give in. I didn't go buy some. Isn't that crazy? Just out of the blue, you know?
It's
Weird.
weird the things you start
Can I
craving.
just clarify? In the States, you've got a peanut butter called Jif.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Is that right?
JIF.
Uh,
Yeah.
JIF. Jif is a very different thing in Australia and the UK. It's like a white substance that you clean the sink with.
Oh
He said,
man.
I don't eat Jif. I thought, well, I'm glad.
No, no, it's a brand of peanut butter. That and Skippy, Peter Pan. But oh my gosh, gonna get me going here. What do they put on toast in Australia, Dave?
Vegemite.
That's what I was. Yeah, that's right. I've heard of
Yeah.
that.
That's yeah. Anyone tried Vegemite? Anyone like Vegemite?
I've never tried it.
I've
Never?
never tried it.
I have no
It's awesome.
idea.
You got to try it. You got to try
Yeah,
it. You probably get it from the import shop there. It's awesome. But
yeah.
it's an
What is it
acquired
now?
taste. It's like drinking alcohol. Vegemite. Vegemite.
In Alabama,
It's
we put butter on toast and salt. Put butter and a little bit of salt.
Really.
if you like
Oh yeah.
salt. If you like salt on it, then you'll probably like it. If you like salt on it, then you'll probably like it. But it's an acquired taste. It's like drinking alcohol. Vegemite. Vegemite. probably last.
That is one thing that I do for, like, if I like close to bedtime. Everybody knows I eat. I'll go have some butter, but I've gotten to where I'll take like I'm talking about 4 or 5 like almost a half stick of butter. Like, I, for whatever reason, I got to where it's almost like it's so sweet. It's almost like a treat. I will take salt, that Redmond salt, and put like just pinch my fingers down in it and sprinkle it on top of the butter and then eat it. Dude, it's so good.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know, man. It's amazing.
And I
It's
used
almost
to do
like,
that same thing, but put it on bread. But now you just don't need the bread anymore.
mm, that's right. Let's see here. I know there was more. You guys, if you have a question, if it's your first time, we want to welcome you. Put a Q by your questions, and we will get to them. Glad to see everybody chatting it up. Here's one for Dave. Question for Dave and others to comment. Did Japan media run the crazy headline, "Beef causes diabetes"? Dave?
So I saw this question roll past, and as I saw it roll past, I started having a look online because I don't remember anything. And it seems like when I look at the major newspaper websites here, I can't find any mention of it.
Huh.
So yeah, they haven't been running with it at all. Yeah, which is interesting because it probably would generate clicks here too. So yeah.
Absolutely. What about you, Kip? I mean, have you seen that article, right?
I mean, I've heard about it, but I don't pay attention to dumb articles like that. So I just I just kept on scrolling. I just kept on scrolling.
That's funny. Somebody actually
Oh my
sent the
God.
article to me before. I know my buddy Justin from Max Fitness and All In Mindset. He did a video on that. But somebody had sent the article to me, and like, honestly, when I started reading it, I was like, "Come on now, somebody should have told me this before I reversed my type 2 diabetes with all this meat," you know.
The thing about that study, is there's one paragraph, like a page in, that completely discounts any validity that study's got. And it says something about, the way it was measured was food frequency questionnaires every 2 years. Like a person on a regular diet, they don't remember what they ate 2 days ago, let alone 2 years ago. And
Right.
yeah, so it's just it's just kindling.
That's right. I agree. The carnivore trucker says, "Hey Dave, how hard was it to give up Vegemite when you went carnivore?"
um I actually never thought about it because it's not easy to buy in Japan. Like you have to go to an import shop or whatever. I wasn't eating it that much in Japan anyway, so I didn't really think about it. So I don't know if it would be. I'm not sure if Vegemite has sugar or anything like that. It's probably all gluten in it, but yeah, I probably wouldn't eat it now anyway. I just cover everything with a lot of salt and it's okay. Same kind of taste.
That's right. Randy, he says, "Do you think the butter before bed helps with sleep? I've seen Bella speak of it." I don't know honestly if it helps with sleep. I sleep great when I sleep now, anyway. I think that's one thing that helps everything else too that doesn't get enough credit. Having a good night's sleep can make a huge difference, and missing too much sleep can also make a huge difference. Sleep is critically important. A lot of people get stalled out, and one of the big things that the issue is they're not getting good sleep or not enough sleep. Sleep is where the magic happens. What do you guys think? You think butter? That butter. I've heard Bella talk about that too a little bit here and there. Eating butter before bed. You guys experienced anything like that? You think the butter
I
before bed might help you?
I haven't tried that, but I would think, like, I would just think, because I know how butter is. Like, if I was to eat some butter before bed, it would probably just make me, I feel like it would probably make me sleep a little bit better, but I don't know that it's necessary. I mean,
Mm,
I know that with Sean, with all the weight that he's lost, that butter probably helps him to where he doesn't like go way low or anything on his weight or anything. Because you need the fat. Like, I still have a lot of fat to lose, and so I don't
mm.
right now. I don't need tons and tons of extra. I mean, I have butter with stuff, but I don't need tons of extra. But I think, just thinking in my mind, I would think that it would help a little bit. But I mean, I don't really know. I haven't tested it.
Dude, I used to power up on the fat even when I was your size, man. Like
Really.
I have eaten butter and fat like this ever since I started. I know people in this space talk about not eating fat because you have fat to burn and all that, blah 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 blah. Well, I'm just telling you from what I experienced the entire time. I added a lot of butter the entire time, and it was almost like it supercharged it. So,
Yeah,
you know, people
I need to
people
start
can
eating
say what they
butter
will.
more.
Try it, man. I don't know. Maybe it was a satiation thing. Maybe it was that butter helped satiate me more. Maybe it just gave me that much more energy. Maybe it hit a trigger in some mitochondria somewhere that took leadership role and started marching fat cells out. I don't know. I don't know. I just know that it worked, and I wasn't going to change it.
Yeah, there have been times throughout our journey in the last 2.5, 3 years where I really crave butter a lot, and we've only been eating clean now since our little slip up, 12, 13 days, and I'm not craving butter like that yet. Which tells me I'm not totally fat adapted because I can, like you say, pick up a stick of butter. Well, I've done it in videos, and it's delicious, but I have to be
Mhm.
craving it. If I'm not craving it, no, I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? I really got to be craving it. When you do, it's like a candy bar, man. It's so good.
Mhm.
And a couple times I've tweaked what I've done, and every time I up my fat intake, the scale starts moving again.
Mhm.
So there's something to that.
Yeah,
I
man.
might actually add a little bit more to what I'm doing, but I know if I add too much, it's gonna send me straight to the toilet. So I gotta like find that right balance. Because if I just start adding in tons of butter, like it ain't gonna be pretty.
I recorded because we're doing a video for the 5J challenge with Kip, and a little clip I recorded today. I haven't eaten today still. I munched on a little beef jerky, but I just haven't been hungry, and I don't know if I'm hitting the wall of doom a little bit. Bumping up against it. Just nothing sounds good, and it was a busy day. But so on day 2 of the video, there won't be much, Kip. I just, I'm not hungry. And I've fallen into that trap a couple times, where where you're under eating, but I don't think that's the case now. Nothing's appealing.
Mm.
So
The wall
I
of
think I'm gonna
doom.
have some chicken soup once we get off here. It is late, but we'll be all right. Right.
That's right. That wall of doom's real. It don't matter how many times you faced it, man. It's always a wall of doom, right? You got to get
Yeah.
through it. Um, for sure. Let's see. I had another one for Kip. Uh, Johnson, Kip, are you still doing the sea lion diet? What exactly is it?
Right now, I'm not focused on like any of the challenges or any of the like the line diet, and not even BBB&E. I'm just doing like carnivore. Well, I'm not allowing cheese in my diet, and I'm not allowing like heavy cream or things like that. But basically, any kind of meat, as long as it's real meat, is fair game. And I'm just doing that just to kind of get back in the swing of things. And then after I get back in the swing of things, if I want to tighten it up to BBB&E, I might do that, or even line diet, but or sea line diet. But basically, what sea line diet is just a little thought that we come up with, and it's just basically taking line diet but then also adding seafood to it. So like if you like shrimp or salmon or oysters or whatever kind of seafood that you like, you can add that to your line diet. And the reason I had that thought was because people have had seafood for years. Like I'm talking like wild caught seafood. People still like, even tribes in different places, like they hunt whales and hunt different animals and all that stuff. So people have lived on, close to the waters forever and caught fish and things like that. So that's where it come from. And plus where I live at in the South, I live close to the Gulf Coast. So I just love seafood. So that's why I was like, oh, sea lion diet, which is adding seafood to lion diet.
Nice. That's what's up. That sea lion. Cat Lady said, "How are each of you planning to handle Thanksgiving Day?" I know how Larry and them are going to handle it, kind of like you alluded to that before. Can you tell everybody the plan that you look to set forth through the Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's holiday?
Last year we did a holiday weight loss challenge, 6 weeks long. We don't charge for it; it's totally free. But it's basically everybody just bands together, tries to get through the holidays without gaining any weight. And last year, our first year on Carnivore, we went really strict, and we ended up blowing it on Christmas Eve. Our second year, we went really strict, and we blew it on Thanksgiving. And this last year, we loosened up a little bit. Cassie did some carnivore recipes, carnivore-ish, like Kelly Hogan's oopsie cake, carnivore gravy, charcuterie board. We just loosened up a little bit, and we found that really worked. But you just, Cat Lady, you just got to find out what your goals are and what do you think you can handle. We had to learn the hard way. We the first year we just couldn't go strict all the way through the holiday. But you can join the challenge if you want. Like I said, it's just a community coming together with a common goal. And we start around Thanksgiving and it goes till New Year's. So yeah, good luck. Holidays are tough. Kip.
Well, I was kind of talking to Larry about it the other day, actually. Like every diet that I've done in like before carnivore, everything that I've ever done, anytime a holiday season came up, I gained tons of weight and I gave up. I always quit a diet during the holidays. And so my focus is kind of like what Larry and them's challenge is going to be, is to just make sure that I don't gain weight. So like if I don't lose another pound from like all November and all of December, but I don't gain weight, I'll take that as a success in January so that I can keep losing more weight. So, I mean, of course, I'd like to lose more weight, but I want this to be the first holiday season that I don't gain weight, because to me, that will be a victory already in itself, because I can look at a Twinkie and I will gain 5 pounds.
Yeah.
So if I can just not gain weight, that'll be awesome for me.
Yeah.
What about you, Dave?
One thing, well, real quick, one thing I wasn't clear about is, the first, when we did fail, we tried to, when we ended up going off plan, like that year on Thanksgiving, we just buckled down and we had some stuffing. And the next day we were off to the races and we just kept cheating. It really triggered us. So this last year, Cassie did some replacement foods, like cloud bread and stuff like that. So we just know us, and we just can't handle, a meal off plan. Sean's able to do that. I know a few people who can get out, take a meal or take a day and enjoy some food, and then they're right back on track. But we learned the hard way we couldn't do that. So I'll pass it over to you, Dave. Sorry about that.
No worries. So I think I'm in a bit of a lucky position here being in Japan, because we don't have the Thanksgiving celebrations like you do in the US. So we don't, there's not that temptation there. And then leading up to Christmas is kind of a non-event in Japan. Like they do all the decorations and they do all the stuff like that, and they give out presents and all that kind of thing. But Christmas Day is just a regular working day for everyone. And even after 17 years in Japan, I still can't get used to that. Like everyone just gets up on December 25, gets on the train and goes to work. and so it's just a regular day here. So it's not like you're not tempted by anything out of the ordinary. And then New Year is not the same as it would be back home. Like, people aren't drinking like crazy. They're not a people running down the streets celebrating at midnight and all this kind of thing. It's like most people are in bed by 10 o'clock, so they can get up and see the first sunrise. So the festive season is not so festive in Japan. So
In
I
the
think I'm
U.S.,
lucky in that regard.
we're just always looking for a reason to party and eat a bunch of food at every event.
Well, same in Australia, yeah. So Sean, how about you?
Honestly, it's another day. I'm like it does not matter if it's Christmas, Thanksgiving, my birthday, whatever. Like, I have eaten off plan. I have had, when I was at my brother's, I had a piece of cake at my nephew's birthday party. He gave me a piece of cake and I ate it. But as far as the, how I'm gonna handle, just like every other day, man. Like, what I do is what I do. I've been extremely hard on myself, changing the way that I view it. And like, it doesn't matter what the situation, like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just not. Like, if I don't want it, it's not food, I'm not gonna have it. And the only thing that's on my plan that's off, carnivore, is Texas fajitas once a month. So like, that's the plan. That's what works. And it always drives me back. So over a long period of time, I have begun to instill and ingrain the psychological change of food is this, food is not this. When I see you eating this, that's fine. That's your business. You have to decide what's good for you. To me, I'm not going to eat that. It's just not going to happen. So that's just kind of how I look at it.
Give it to me, I'll eat it.
Right.
Big
And
Mac.
I mean, I used to go all out with it, but I mean, it's just, I don't know. Honestly, I'm nervous because, like, even eating what I eat on my plan, it affects me even more as time goes on, because I'm so strict all the time that it doesn't take very much of something that's not carnivore. And I'm not talking about going off having a chocolate chip cookie or whatever. I'm talking about having, like, a vegetable, something that's not what I have every day, like having too much pepper or garlic even in my spices on my stuff. I use it, but like, if I use too much, I know it extremely quick. It affects me so much more now. Oh, let's see, Jeju. What kind of butter do you guys eat? I do Kerrygold. What about you, Kip?
My favorite is Kerrygold. I think it tastes the best that I've tried. Then also, like, we have a Amish store not too far from our house. It's like a little local store, and they have like fresh butter there and everything that they have in rolls, and we'll get that, and it's really good as well. But I mean, most people can get their hands on Kerrygold, and I love the way it tastes, and I think it's a good quality butter. What about you, Larry?
Yeah, Kerrygold's my favorite tasting. Cassie just picked up like 8 pounds of butter. It was on sale at Food Lion. Anybody's down here in the South, I believe it was $4 a pound. Yeah, that's what it was. She put a community post out about it, but then one of our subscribers commented she got it at Costco, in bulk. They're Kirkland for like $3.49 a pound, I think it was. So might be having to head to Costco soon. It's when you can catch us on sale, any good butter that you like, it's so nice to stock up on it. Shum?
Mm, absolutely. Dave, what kind of butter do you use?
I am not sure what the brand is. I just bought some grass-fed stuff off Amazon.
Oh, nice.
Hmm.
Oh, let's see. The champion within. Question, Sean, will you do the 5K with me and Randy Ground Beef Guy on November 11th in Mount Airy, North Carolina? You have to send me the information on it, man. And we might can work it out. We'll have to see. have to see. Send me some information on it, and I'll think about it. I'm already doing what is that three what is that almost 4 miles, right? Are we running or are we walking or how are we doing that?
I think Randy's gonna walk it. He said in one of his videos recently, but so I think he's gonna walk it. But you can walk it or run it. You can do it however you want to.
Nice. Yeah, send me some stuff. We'll look at it. See if we can fit it in and make it happen. Oh, let's see here. Somebody said the article was written in 2020. Is it the one about diabetes was written in 2020? Somebody said, how quick can you lose 50 pounds on the carnivore diet? Well, it depends on your body. It depends on you. I mean, it depends on a lot of different variables. It's hard to say. It's hard to say, honestly. How long did it take you to lose 50 pounds, Larry? Do you know?
I don't think Larry heard you.
Oh, did you pass it off to me, Sean? You were buffering.
Oh yeah. How long was it did it took for you to lose the first 50 pounds?
Well, our first run on the carnivore diet, I lost 25 pounds in 60 days. Our second, and then we blew it and we gained a bunch of weight. And my second run, I lost the same amount, 25 pounds in 60 days. Our third attempt, I tweaked some things and I lost 50 pounds in 60 days. And basically what I did was cut out cheese, sauces, and seasonings, except for 1 day a week. I was eating carnivore, basically dirty carnivore. I was eating carnivore, but cheese, sauces, and seasonings. My first two attempts. But my third attempt, I cut all that out, and 1 day a week, I enjoyed them. And what a huge difference, right? I had double the results. So that's how much 2 months took me to lose 50 pounds. And then I haven't lost another pound in 2.5 years. So I don't know what the hell's going on. Dave?
For me, I think the total loss was about 32 pounds, and all up, it probably took about 2.5 to 3 months. Yeah. How about you, Kip?
Well, I mean, back to what Sean says, it really depends on your body type or like your size. I mean, if you're a house like I am, then it takes a minute to. I mean, you can lose it pretty quick. But if you're like a smaller person and you're trying to lose 50 pounds, it's not the same thing. So, I mean, I was right at 500 pounds and Sean was too. So it started coming off pretty quick. Like, I think my first interview, well, I know for sure my first interview was with Dave. It was about maybe 2 months in the carnivore journey. And I think right around the time I did that video, I think in that interview, I was right around 50 pounds down.
Yeah,
So
50 pounds and then.
yeah, it was about 50 pounds down in about 2 months' time. But then after that, over the next like 6 months, 5 to 6 months, I only lost another 50 pounds. So I didn't lose nowhere near as fast after that. But I also started slipping up more during that time because in that first 60 days, I didn't slip up at all. And the weight was falling off. And I don't think it's just that, but I think our bodies naturally slow down and keep losing weight, but not at that same pace that they were in the beginning.
Let's see here. Carrie Pilling. Question: do any of you still snore? If you snored in the past before carnivore, people always speak of that being the first thing that disappears. Dave, what about you, man? You snore? You keep it? You sawing logs and keeping the house up?
So the curtains are shaking. So I only ever snored when which was a lot because when I was and so cutting out the drink solved that problem for me. Kip, how about you?
I think somebody asked me this one time recently, and I think I had to ask my wife because how the heck would I know? So my wife, whenever I asked her, she said that I only snored whenever I sleep on my back whenever I'd sleep different ways, I didn't. But I think she said once I started carnivore and started losing weight, that got better. But I might still snore a little bit when I'm on my back. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask her. Anybody else?
Yeah, I use a CPAP machine, Carrie. So I mean, that's the reason I got it, but that was like 12 years ago. It was a while ago. I'm hoping to get rid of that CPAP machine, hopefully by the end of this year. That's my goal. So, but yeah, so yeah, Cat, I fall asleep on the couch now, like if we're watching a movie or something. Cassie says I don't snore anymore, but as Sean will tell you, that CPAP machine is kind of like a security blanket. You get used to using it. But I've heard a lot of people that aren't using a CPAP machine that say their snoring has improved, and or their spouse. So it's definitely a thing. Sean?
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Like I don't even need the CPAP. Sometimes I still put it on because it's a habit. Like it's a process. Like when I'm about to go to sleep, like I'll be in that zone and I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll feel it on my face where I put it on, and like I have grabbed it, just ripped it off my face and threw it to the wall. Like heard it like bam slam into the wall and went back to sleep. I'm like, I don't need that junk. Like what in the world is going on right now? So I don't know if I still snore. You'd have to ask the wife, but um, she hasn't said anything, so I'm not really sure. There's a lot of nights. Most nights I try my best to not put the thing on. I end up waking up with it on. I need to just get the thing out of my house. I mean, but it's a habit. It really is. You get used to it. Oh, let's see here. Oh, I lost my spot. I jumped back and forth. Bella Brat, thanks for the super chat. Dave, since you don't have the same holidays in Japan, what days situations are the hardest for you and why? And thank you, love you, and XOXO. Hugs and kisses.
Bella, thank you very much for the super chat. What holidays would be the most? So I guess probably the hardest time is around Golden Week, and Golden Week is kind of this random time. It changes every year, but it's during May, and it's when most people get about a week off work, and it's just like all these national holidays kind of align. And so at Golden Week, it's because it's an extended break. It's there's I don't think there's any specific food around that time, but it's just because it's an extended break. You're not working so long. It's just easier to fall into that kind of, oh, I want to eat something, or I'm bored. Let's walk into the kitchen and see what's on offer. That kind of thing. So I need to be more vigilant around that time. So for me, it's just if it's an extended period of downtime, then I need to watch myself.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, thanks, Bella Brat, for the super chat. Darcy asks, so what's the difference in eating butter or drinking cream? Obviously, the biggest difference is going to be the amount of the lactose and the natural sugar, carrageenan, and casein that you're getting. Butter and ghee are on the fat spectrum side of the dairy, and cream and it's sour cream, whipped cream, all the different little things on down to cheese and milk. The closer you get to the milk side, you're getting more of the lactose and sugar. There's only 20, usually it's 80 to 82% of butter is fat. So that leaves 18 to 20% to have the milk particles full of the stuff that might stall you out or keep you from getting to the goal. So that's the biggest difference. And some people can tolerate different levels better. Some people can't even tolerate the milk particles and what's left over in the butter they're eating. It just stalls them out. They struggle with it. I don't hear that a lot, but I have heard it. So that's going to be your biggest difference. And the longer you even with the dairy, that lactose is enough of the natural sugar that you're getting out of it to keep those cravings and keep there as well. So that's the biggest difference. Anybody else got anything to add more to that? You say good. Have any of you guys tried the carnivore soul bread recipe?
I haven't.
No, I haven't tried it.
I have not.
I hadn't either.
Sorry.
I know Cassie's tried done the cloud bread and got the recipe out. Maybe the soul bread is next. We'll see.
We'll see.
Oh, I'm gonna try to cover a few more. We're over an hour. Daryl says, "Do y'all find your mind is always working and find it harder to calm down thoughts and relax now that your mind and body is working like it should?" What do you think, Larry?
100%, Daryl. That's why I can no longer have afternoon coffee because my mind will really speed up, like when I lay down. But if I don't have the coffee, that mental clarity can also have a drawback. You lay down and I don't see my mind's racing, but I guess racing is the right word. You got four different things you're thinking about at the same time. But once I fall asleep, I sleep great as long as I don't have that coffee. But that mental clarity goes. I mean, it takes me a little while to wake up. We had this discussion here on the stream a few weeks ago. How long does it take you to wake up? Takes me a few minutes to wake up, but once I'm awake, man, my head's clear all day long. Way more clear than when I was eating sugar and carbs. So, how about you, Kip?
Yeah, I feel like honestly, before I started carnivore, I felt like my body was just like blah. So like I would watch videos on YouTube that were just like funny videos. They were easy. You could just kick back, relax, and laugh and watch a video, but you weren't really doing much thinking, much research, anything like that. But since I've started carnivore, I feel like I'm firing better on my all cylinders, and like my productivity at work is better. I'm not constantly thinking about that next meal, and like I'm just more consistent. And it causes me to produce better work, but it also makes me want to like read more. Like I've never been a person that really loves reading, but like I'm more interested in reading and learning things now. And like I recently started like listening to audiobooks, and I've never done that before. And all that stuff is because you know, I think it's because of the food that I'm eating. Because now I want to learn these different things and learn different topics, and and I was never like that. So, I mean, being on this, I feel like there's something to it that just makes me want to learn more, and I've never really been like that. Dave.
For me, I don't feel like mind is always working relative to what it was before, because I've always felt like my mind's racing with stuff all the time. The difference now is I feel like I can better think about things, better compartmentalize things, better organize things, and kind of like if I'm working on one thing, I can stick on that one thing and finish it and kind of tick that off my to-do list or whatever, and then move on to the next thing. Whereas before I would have been trying to multitask all these many things, right? And humans aren't built for multitasking, right? Like we're not Windows 2000 or whatever. We can't multitask effectively, because multitasking for humans means jumping between things and not doing it and not actually producing anything. And so that's what I'd be doing, never get any result. And as a result of that, I'd end up kind of a little bit depressed or anxious. So I feel like that's over now, and I'm happy to just kind of sit and focus on that one thing and get it done. How about you, Sean?
Like I'm that guy that you were just saying though. Like I do, like I read 5 books at a time. Like since I've been going carnivore. Now I've always been somewhat of a reader. It was more like a leisurely thing. I'm more aggressive in what I'm reading. I never read a self help book until after my life, like after this transformation took place. If that tells you anything, like I never read a self help book. The very first self help book that I read was after starting YouTube and all this stuff and started reading them. The only self help book that I needed was the Bible, and it gives me every single thing I need in it. You know, for me. But yeah, my mind works overtime. Like that's the struggle that, but it's not like it was before. You like I used to take Adderall and all those things for ADHD, and try to focus and help me focus because my brain would always be jumping from one thing to the next and scattered all over the place, and I needed to slow down and focus. And like now, it's like I do more than one thing, multitask, I guess, if you will, but I'm more effective at doing it because of the way that I can respond to the things. It's not like I'm multitasking, like putting, overexerting myself to try to keep up to par. It's like I'm doing this and I'm like, well, I'll do this and do this and this. Like I'll do two or three different things, but it's not the same as trying to keep up. It's almost like getting ahead, so to speak, because I'm thinking ahead of it. If my mouth could move and work as fast as my brain was, I'd really be doing something. Definitely good stuff, though. We got a few more, and we'll wrap it. Margie says, "I am a Christian doing keto carnivore for the past year, feeling guilty for avoiding communion. Our church uses sweet grape juice and white bread. Afraid those few carbs will set me off to a binge." I can understand that. Like I do communion. I feel like that's like a commandment that we were issued by God. It's symbolic to me. I believe that the Bible teaches it's symbolic. We do this in remembrance of Him, and like I'm taking communion. Period. Them carbs, I have to do what they will. Like that's just me though. I can completely understand. If you don't, I think I don't know. How you feel about that, Larry?
Well, last time when me and Cassie went to church with you, they just happened to have communion that day, and I took it. And I'm telling you, man, but it was cool. The wafer was about the size of a Tic Tac. It was tiny. I was like, all right, I'm cool, But yeah, if they're handing out white bread, I probably still would. I probably still would for that occasion. But most churches I've been to don't do it every week, so maybe once a month. But what about you, Kip? You eating that white bread, boy? Oh,
Yeah, I mean, if churches did it every week, y'all ain't having communion. Y'all just having a cookout. But yeah, I mean, communion is like a very symbolic thing. So like if my church had, which we do communion every now and then, we haven't did it in a while, but we have done it before. Uh, if that comes up and we do it, I'm gonna do that. Like because for one thing, they're not giving me, a whole big loaf of bread or something. They break it up. Like everybody gets just like a little piece. So in that situation, that's not gonna be the end of the world. They're not passing out, tons and tons of stuff to everybody. So it's not that big of a thing for me.
Absolutely. Dave, do you go to church, man? Do you have you ever had communion? You take communion?
I don't. Yeah, I was christened and so forth, but I was never brought up in the church. So yeah, I don't typically do that. I'm not. I don't really. I don't subscribe to any views one way or the other, really. And actually, this is the first time I'm talking about this on a live. I don't subscribe to
Right.
any particular views or anything. and I'm one of these kind of people that sits in the middle, that's very willing to entertain all ideas, because I think everyone has spirituality and a connection in their particular way. So yeah,
Okay.
that's kind of
Cool.
that's kind of where I sit.
And
Yeah.
I'd like to say, David, and you've shown that every live stream, every week, you're so patient with us. Sometimes when we talk about our faith, and
Mm-hmm.
I've talked about it with Sean. I want to thank you very much for being so, not open minded. I mean, that's what you just said you are, but just so cool about it and so graceful.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty awesome.
Well, I
Absolutely,
mean,
because Dave like is just awesome with even though all of us say that we're Christian and things like that. Dave like is just a friendly guy, and he's never treated us any different because regardless of how Dave believes, he's always. And I'm surprised it's took this long for it to come up. So this is pretty cool that it actually came up. But yeah, Dave's a good dude regardless, and we love you, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
cheers.
Well,
Yeah.
it's something that's been on my heart, man. Because and I just never thought, to add. Like Dave has his views, Larry has his, Kip has his, and I have mine. And this is a great example of what I talk about being adults and getting along, even though we don't all believe or whatever the exact same way. Like I love Dave. I have my opinion about what's right, but I'm not going to force it on Dave. Like I love him. He's like a brother, just like Larry and Kip. We all have to have our own understanding, but we get along great, and it just really wasn't an issue. And I was just curious. I feel like that's how we
Yeah.
can, as adults, handle situations in life.
I think you know again, I don't have a strong view either way, but the thing, I think you touched on a really important point there, which I think in the last number of years, it seems to become forgotten a lot, and is that we're all just adults, and we should be able to have conversations about what we have in common, and that's also why it doesn't bother me when people talk about religion or politics or whatever it is, because it's like, I mean, whether I agree or not is irrelevant. It's like we're all working towards this common, we've all got a common goal together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Absolutely, and
for sure.
like that's one thing that I have been huge about as far as my faith is concerned, and even with Carnivore. It's no different with that for me. I feel like leading by example is the only way. People don't respond to you forcing your ideas down their throat. They may not have a choice and have to accept it, but being that example and living what you believe out in the world, like that's what we should all be that way. Just be who you are,
Mm.
be what you are, be real. You don't have to conform for everybody else. And we can spread love and love people even if we don't agree with them, right? Think it's huge. Let me get these
Absolutely.
these super chats. I didn't even see them. Banana Show, thanks for the sticker, super chat. Appreciate
Thank you,
you.
man.
Hope all is well with you. And Bella Brat with another one, $50. Nice. Meant
Bam.
to ask all of you the most difficult situations. I find when I don't have projects, I stare at the fridge and food. Laugh out loud. I also find it hard when I'm around my foodie friends. What is it for all of you? And thank you for what you all do, for what you do here. Thank you for the super chat, Bella.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Kit, what you got, man? What's the most difficult situations, and when you don't have projects and things to do you find yourself sitting there staring at the refrigerator?
Whenever I was really strict for a while, that kind of faded and got, like those cravings kind of die down, and there's less of those temptations and things like that. But whenever I've had the slip ups like once a month or once every other week or something like that, then those cravings come back and they're very powerful. Like some people say, "Oh no, it's not. You just make up your." No, it's very powerful for me because I know how it is for me. and maybe it's not for you, but for me, it's a strong battle. And you know, but one of the things that gets me is like driving down the road and seeing signs of food, like restaurants, or when you're standing in like in the grocery store checking out, and you're checking out and you got this carnivore food in your bag, but then like right in front of the cash registers, like Twix and Snickers bars and all this other stuff, and you're just like, it's just little mental games going on in your mind. And so that stuff, has affected me multiple times, and I'm still working on getting it. I'm not professional, and I'm not saying that I've never slipped up, because I definitely have, but I'm still working on it, and I'm a work in progress. But anybody else got anything you want to add to that? Dave, you got anything?
Yeah, good question. Thanks for the super chat, Bella. I experienced my most difficult situation the other day, and it was something I never expected. I I ate a little bit earlier than normal for the day, and most days I'm still doing OMAD, although I'm flirting with TUMAD. So for that OMAD, I ate a little bit earlier than usual and didn't eat as much as I usually did. And then I went out to this little co-working space that I'm working at. And as I was coming home, I realized that I was hungry. And it's the first time I've felt hungry in 16 months. And first time during the day that I've been like, oh, I'm suddenly getting feelings like I want to eat something. And I didn't know what to do. And it was this feeling, go and eat something, and I was this feeling of worry, like I'm gonna slip. And so fortunately there was a McDonald's on the way home, so I just went into the McDonald's and I got a few patties and I ate that. But it was weird after 16 months just having this feeling. And so for me now, it's making sure that I'm satiated all the time. Larry, how about you? What about difficult situations for you?
Bella Brats. I think the first, like when we first started our journey, difficult situation was like at nighttime when Cassie and I were gonna watch some TV. You're used to snacking, but that only lasted a few months. But the main thing that our toughest situation, and Cassie will say the same thing, is special occasions where we go somewhere and like a birthday party, or we really find that difficult. Going out to restaurants, we totally avoid. Like when we first started, I mean, or we restarted, we just stay away from restaurants. I mean, we don't eat out much anyway, but we totally avoid them for like the first 3 or 4 months. But definitely special occasions are the toughest. Sean, what about you, man?
I think the toughest struggle that I had was I was eating two. I had gotten a couple months in on carnivore, and I would eat 2 times a day. I was intermittent fasting, and I really wasn't hungry. But I'd be sitting in the living room or whatever, and my family comes home and they eat the standard American diet, and they were cooking dinner every night, and I'm sitting there, and our house, like I said, is 1,200 square feet. When somebody's cooking in here, it's you that's that thumb thing. I don't know if it's because I do it and it pops up or what, but nevertheless, am I the only one that sees that when it happens? Y'all see it, right?
No,
I seen
I
it.
saw it.
No,
Yeah,
I think I was like,
what's
am I
going on here?
hallucinating?
I'm
I
mad
know,
because it won't
right?
do it for me.
I know.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
what's
not
up with what?
working.
Hit the like button,
That,
people. Hit the like button.
I
that
did it
that's
again for
that's
Sean.
what I'm talking about.
Nope,
That throws
there
me
it
off
is.
and sidetracks me every time. But I would be sitting on the couch, sitting in a living room, and like the family comes in and they start cooking the things that I used to partake in. And sometimes those things, man, like they set you off, and like all of a sudden I'm bored. I'm not hungry, but those things are tapping into that sensory in my brain telling me, hey, you remember what that tasted like, right? And then you got to start having that conversation with yourself. So that's probably one of the biggest struggles that I had to face initially. And finally, I just fleed the situation. I went outside on the porch and sit on the swing and let them cook, do what they gonna do. I'd go walking or whatever, do something. That's one of the biggest things coming to this way of eating you got to do, whether it's to avoid the cravings or to fill the time in, because we spend way more than we realize as far as time concerned around food. And if you don't have things to backfill into those spots, you're gonna be sitting there bored and you're gonna gravitate to what you used to do. It's just a habit. So, that's one of the big things. As far as friends, I didn't have a whole lot of people coming around back then. I still don't, honestly. A handful of friends that come around. Most of them don't live around here. So I don't struggle with the whole friend thing that much. Going out to eat. Most of the people that I actually see in real life are carnivores, so it's not a struggle anymore. Every once in a while, I have hang out with some of my friends that are not, but they respect my opinion, and they definitely, as far as what I'm going to eat and what I'm not.
I had a question for y'all as well. Since y'all have all been carnivore, do you think, and I know all of us have lost some amount of weight, some of us more than others, but and I know that y'all talk about how many meals y'all eat in a day normally. I think a lot of y'all eat 2 meals a day, and a lot of times I do. But recently, with me starting back, I've been eating 3 meals to just kind of get my body readjusted to the fat and protein and everything. But like my question was, um, do you think the poundage of meat that you eat in a day has changed much since you started? Like, let's say when you started, if you ate 2.5 pounds of meat a day or something like that, or 3 pounds or however much it was, do you think that number has stayed the same, or do you think that number has went down or up throughout the journey? Anybody want to answer that?
I'll go. I think for me, the volume pretty much has stayed the same the whole time. Yeah, hasn't really gone up or down. Larry, how you?
Yeah, the size of my meals were always the same, but I would eliminate a meal. Um, I've fallen into, like I said before, under eating. But I guarantee you, because I could answer this for Sean. I'll let him answer, but I could. You start getting really small after you're really big, you're going to consume more food. I've heard that from a lot of people. That's usually what happens because you don't have it stored on your body anymore. But no, I I struggle like when I did that recipe video. Um, 3-day meal plan like 4 or 5 days ago or whatever. So I had so many comments of people saying, "Gosh, I eat twice that much food," and I'm like, "Really?" It's like, really? And so I don't know, man. When I get down to my goal weight, hopefully I'll be eating 5 pounds of beef a day. Sean.
Yeah, well, you know how I'm gonna answer it, dude. Like I eat an insane amount of food a day now. Like, I mean, it's got to be, and it's not every day, but like, see, I can eat 5 pound, 4 to 5 pounds a day easy. Like, I still think I can do 50 eggs.
No, you can't.
I think I could do it. I think
Well,
I
he's
could
got
do
to
it.
do it, and we can watch him do it one
Yeah,
last
I chip in. Everybody want to chip in $10? Come on now, me, all
If you
three
want
of
to do
us.
the 50 egg challenge next week, I'm up for it.
Oh my God!
I swear, we need to do it. We need to
Oh
do it
my
Yeah,
seriously.
I'm up
God!
for it. I'm up for it.
Well, hey, you guys want to bet $5 each? I mean, we all got PayPal, right? I'll
Oh
Hmm.
man.
I'll bet you each $10 you can't do it.
I've no doubt. I've no doubt that Sean will get further than me just because the speed he went through them last time. But I want to both finish. That's what's the really interesting thing for me.
Oh man,
I'd
I'm
love
about to
to.
get into it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
easy.
that'd be fun.
That's
We'll
that's
talk about it. For sure.
That's
Yeah.
easy money. Easy money, big dogs.
We'll talk about it for sure. We might do that. The only reason I didn't last time, I was like, man, I don't know, can I do this, and then dust it off in 24. Like I was like, man, that was a lot, but we'll think about it.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh, Pat asked, am I still exercising? Yes, twice a day, 45 minutes each time, brother. And I eat my steak, preferably medium rare. I'm gonna do one more. Like we'll end on this one. How about that? Um, Dave, did you listen to the Chris Stapleton?
Yeah, I listened to a few of his, and they're coming up in my feed more regularly now. But as I explained to you last week, it's when you were playing it on your phone, he's it's really the kind of music that I can listen to, and even I'm just listening to the tones in his voice and the rhythm takes me back. I can just everything back to different parts of my life, and it's all kind of, you feel a little bit weepy here and there, with it. So yeah, he's really good.
He could sing the phone book, man. He taps
He's
into
my
that.
favorite of all the like country artists that are out there. Even though he's bluesy as well, but of all those artists, like in the country realm, he's my favorite. Like out of all of them, except for like back in the day, like old artists. There's some that I like more, but like he's got a voice on him and he can write really good music.
And it's really cool. The story Cassie was telling me that before he was writing music for other people,
Yep.
and then like he went, I could probably just do this for myself instead. And
He's
that's such
better
an
than him.
awesome way to yeah, that's awesome.
Absolutely, it is quite amazing, and be that talented, um, for sure. It's been awesome, guys. I mean, I know we could go on. If we didn't get to your question, I apologize. Just put it in the comments if you will do that. Whatever, not the comments here. This will be going away, but under the video, if you'll put your question there, whatever channel you're on, we'll try to get to those best we can. And if not, we'll see you guys next week. Does anybody else have anything they want to say before we close out?
I just want to say I had an awesome time. We'll see you next week and later. Kip.
Yeah, I had a great time. It's always fun. I love you guys, and I can't wait to see y'all next week as well. And somebody just donated $10. They did a super chat for the for to buy Sean some eggs.
Oh, nice.
Right on. Oh,
That's what's up.
you guys just send all the super chats to me for that because I'm gonna take all their money.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, good.
What about you, Dave? You got anything?
Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot. I had a lot of fun and looking forward to next week. And it's always a pleasure. Love it. Thanks for joining us as well, everybody.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I'm excited to see you guys every week. We look forward to seeing you guys next time. You guys stay strong. Hit that like and subscribe. Bring a friend with you next week. That'd be cool. You never know whose life you're going to change. And we'll see you then. Stay strong. Keep pushing forward, my friends.